I remember when I found out that one of my students was homeless, and I only learned this because of a conversation I had with the school social worker. The student's friends had no idea that he was sleeping in a shelter every night or completing his homework on a city bus on the way to school. You know, educators, we have this unique perspective of our students. You know which kids only eat when they come to school and are hungry on nights and weekends. You've driven by students' houses that don't have heat or windows or proper floors. You were told which of your students are in foster care. You've answered phone calls from parents who are barely holding things together. And you, a certified English or history or science or math teacher, also sometimes serve as a non-clinical counselor for them, right? This is the side of teaching that those outside of education don't often talk about. And yet it is some of the most critical work happening in our society. And thank you for that. Thank you for not just teaching the subject matter, even though that's all you usually get evaluated for. Thanks for keeping granola bars in your desk for those kids. Thanks for listening to those parents during your planning time, even though you've got papers to grade, right, and things to do. Thanks for stopping in the hallway so that kids can pour their heart out to you, or for just giving them high fives when they walk in the door, making them feel known. Thanks for being intentional about creating an atmosphere in your classroom and your school that students feel cared for and safe in. Right? Building community was not in the job description. You weren't trained for this in teacher preparation programs. Standardized tests don't measure it, and academic standards don't prescribe it. And yet it is one of the most demanding parts of your work. It's also one of the most important. The reality is that students who feel part of a community tend to do better academically and emotionally and socially when they have a place that they can contribute and be heard and feel valued in. Their outcomes improve regardless of the circumstances they come from. And this is something that you can help give them by being that constant presence in their lives every single day. You are having an impact in ways far more than you know. And so know this. Let it sink in. Remind yourself of the powerful work being done in your school or your classroom. Know that the impact of that work is sometimes hard to measure or even to realize. But I promise you, if you are caring for students and making your class a community for them, you are having an impact. And so I want to tell you a quick little thing about tugboats. Did you know that ocean freighters are so enormous that they have to be built right next to the water, right? There isn't a road wide enough to transport them. And so they're just too massive to be assembled anywhere but next to the water where they're going to be launched. And these 1,000-foot-long boats are so huge that when they're launched, it's essential that they be kept absolutely straight as they're put out to sea. Even a couple feet offline, and the freighters will slam into docks and other boats and anything else in their path. Because of their size, they just cannot steer themselves back on track. Therefore, tugboats are positioned on each side of the freighter at the launch, pulling laterally to keep it on its path. They make incremental adjustments so that the freighter can be put in the ocean and begin its journey. The tugboats don't follow the freighter forever, but without them, the freighter could never be there in the first place. It couldn't begin its journey. You, my friends, educators, are like tugboats. The energy you give, the small acts that often feel ordinary, the snacks, the greetings, the quiet conversations, the emotional safety you provide, they are what keeps students aligned at the most vulnerable parts of their lives. You help set them up for the rest of their journey. And so I hope that you take a moment to recognize the impact of your work and let that awareness strengthen the way you show up for kids. I'm so grateful for you.